In 2024, Google built a tool that could end its own search engine. 18 months later, that tool is driving Google's fastest search growth in years. Something else got destroyed instead. It wasn't Google. Every day, billions of people open Google and type a question. If you run a website, a blog, or an online business, you've probably already felt this. Traffic dropping for no reason. Rankings staying the same. Clicks disappearing anyway. In March 2024, Reid took over as Google's Vice President of Search. 2 months later, her team launched AI Overviews, AI-written answers that sit above the normal search results. So users get an answer without clicking anything. Reid built the one thing that could make the click obsolete. Why would the head of search do that? Here's the mechanism behind that question. For 25 years, the internet ran on one trade. You ask a question, Google sends you away. That away was the business model. Every business built on the open web depended on that single transaction. Call it the click economy. When that transaction disappears, it isn't a technology problem. It's the structural villain of this entire story. The death of the click as the internet's unit of value. By 2024, global search advertising was worth over $200 billion a year. Google controlled close to 90% of it. But for the first time since 2015, that number started slipping. Google was also paying billions in TAC, traffic acquisition cost, just to stay the default search engine on iPhones and Android. And a new kind of competitor wasn't selling search anymore. It was selling answers. So by early 2025, what had almost everyone concluded? By early 2025, almost everyone believed the same thing. ChatGPT had hit hundreds of millions of weekly users. Perplexity was answering hundreds of millions of questions a month. Younger users were skipping Google entirely. The assumption was simple. Google was losing search to AI chatbots. And Reid's AI overviews were a forced defensive move, burning Google's own ad model to slow down a competitor that was already winning. If that story were true, Google's own search revenue should have been the first casualty. Was it? It wasn't. Look at what actually happened inside Google's own numbers. After AI Overviews launched in May 2024, Google's search growth didn't collapse. It slowed briefly, then reversed. In the first quarter of 2025, search revenue grew 10%, second quarter, 12%, third quarter, 15%, fourth quarter, 17%, reaching $63 billion for that quarter alone. By the first quarter of 2026, growth hit 19%. Search revenue, $60.4 billion. Sundar Pichai called AI Overviews the biggest change to search in 25 years. Reid's team kept pushing, even through embarrassing early mistakes. Then expanded AI Mode, a more conversational version of the same AI search experience, to over 100 million monthly users across the US and India. Then to 35 languages and 40 countries by October 2025. By early 2026, an upgrade to Gemini 3, Google's underlying AI model, cut the cost of generating each AI answer by more than 30%. Every fear about this killing Google's ad business turned out backwards. Search got faster, cheaper to run, and grew faster than it had in years. So if Google's own business didn't take the hit, who did? The answer is the open web around Google, not Google itself. While search's own revenue accelerated, the slice of Google's ad business that pays third-party publishers fell 4% that same quarter. Google didn't cannibalize search. It cannibalized the click economy everyone else stood on and kept the difference. Chegg felt it first. The homework help company filed a federal antitrust suit against Google in February 2025. CEO Nathan Schultz told investors non-subscriber traffic had collapsed 49% that January, after AI Overviews started answering the exact questions students used to pay Chegg for. The stock had already lost 90% of its value since its IPO. By October, Chegg cut 45% of its remaining staff and replaced its CEO. Penske Media filed a similar suit that September. arguing Google forces publishers to feed AI overviews or vanish from search entirely. So if this is hurting publishers this badly, why would Google risk the backlash? Because the same disruption made other companies richer. Reddit signed a content deal with Google in February 2024, worth an estimated $60 million a year, part of $203 million in licensing deals it disclosed before its own IPO. Reddit didn't lose to the death of the click. It got paid for it. There's a part of this that should worry Google long-term too. The same ruling that found Google an illegal search monopolist in 2024 still let it keep Chrome and Android intact in 2025, partly because regulators believed AI competition was already loosening Google's grip. If the data instead shows AI strengthening Google's core business, that becomes the basis for a second wave of scrutiny. And if publishers keep producing less content as traffic keeps falling, Google's own answer engine eventually runs short of fresh material to summarize. The villain was never AI. It's what happens the moment the click, the thing that used to pay for the internet, stops existing for everyone who doesn't own the model. If you run a business that depends on clicks from Google, a publisher, an e-commerce brand, a SaaS company built on content marketing, this is the part that matters to you, not to Google's investors. The mechanism is simple. AI overviews remove the click that used to fund your traffic, because the answer engine keeps the value of the question for itself. The companies adapting fastest are doing three things: getting cited inside AI answers instead of competing for clicks beneath them, building direct relationships with readers that don't depend on search, and licensing content directly to AI platforms the way Reddit did, instead of giving it away. The smartest operators are turning to content monetization platforms, AI citation tracking tools, and direct licensing infrastructure. The ones that do neither end up looking like Chegg within a year. Falling traffic, shrinking revenue, and a board meeting about strategic alternatives. So here's the boardroom view. Google wasn't forced to destroy search. It chose to replace the click with something it could fully own. And it timed that choice perfectly against a regulator who saw AI as proof that competition was already working. Reid didn't gamble Google's business. She moved the asset that mattered, i.e., the answer, to be fully inside Google's walls, and let the cost land on everyone standing outside them. The question was never whether AI would change search. It already has. The real question is who owns the value, in a world where nobody has to click anymore. Google didn't cannibalize search, it cannibalized the web around it and kept the difference. If your growth still depends on someone else's click, ask yourself this: when that click disappears, who keeps the value? You, or the platform standing between you and your customer?